Retro.
And welcome everybody to a special episode of the Animanicast.
Face it, guys, we're out of ideas.
It does feel like we've been doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this reboot.
Yeah, didn't the show used to have more characters?
And welcome everybody once again to another episode of the Animanicast. This is the podcast, of course, that is dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other shows in the Rueggerverse, such as Pinky and the Brain, Tiny Toon Adventures, and Freakazoid. But today, we're doing a very, probably, it's hard to predict, you guys out there know for sure, short episode. That's the plan. Everyone look at your time meter. Is it short or not? I don't know.
Ends in 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Gotta hurry. Because today we're going to be talking about an Animaniacs news rumor thing. I am Joey, and joining me is my brother, Nathan.
Hello, Joey. I don't have a thing to say.
That's okay. I didn't prep you long enough. Like, Nathan, get on right now. He's like, what? What's going on? No time to explain.
I just woke up. It's 6 p.m. I don't know what's going on.
Nathan, you have some issues that you need to talk to me about? I don't know.
I'm tired. I don't know what's going on.
Well, Kelly unfortunately couldn't join us today, but that's okay because we're just doing a very, again, I'm assuming short episode. Today we have some Animaniacs news for you. That's right. People have been asking for it for a while. They've been saying, hey, you got any reboot news, anything? And, well, we've got a really cool rumor for you today. Here at the Animanicast, we've been lucky enough to share some of the early development news of the Animaniacs reboot. Both the good news, like, the voice cast returning, and the not-so-good news, such as the creator of the show not returning and many, many of the original writers of the show not returning. But today, we have some, I would think, this is some positive news if this ends up being true. You see, after the premiere of the first season, news has been pretty scarce. Because other than the announcement of the third season, the folks at WB Animation haven't had much to say about the third season. And honestly, this is pretty understandable. Since the first and the second season are basically written and developed at the same time. And I think we discussed this on the show, Nathan, but it looks like some tweaks were probably made. I think Gabe Zwar said that they even made some tweaks or something like that to the second season. But it's been pretty much the same show, for better or for worse, since it premiered in 2020.
Yeah, I think that's basically right. As far as I remember.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest news I've seen, just today, actually, the time of this recording, Steve Bernstein said that he's started working on compositions for season 3 of the reboot. So, and Rob Paulson had put out a little thing about him going to the WB lot. So one can assume that they're doing some ADR and definitely, or singing. I bet must be some singing with the Bernsteins for some stuff. So hey, they're working on it. It's July right now, so it seems I don't know how tight they have to be to get to November, but that does seem a little tight for November. But what do I know? I don't know. I don't know what's going behind those doors. Anyway, well, one of the biggest criticisms of the reboot is how over-reliant it's been on the Warners and Pinky and the Brain. We've even joked about it once or twice, calling it the Yakko, Wacko, and Dot Show featuring Pinky and the Brain. Because a lot of the show's original cast has just been forgotten or just left out completely. I mean, well, there was the Good Warner hunting episode, but I don't like to think about that one. Because that was just yikes.
Yeah.
It's too dark. But we do know that some characters from the original series are going to return for the third season. So Nathan, what did one of the friends of the show post on Twitter?
This was from our friend Paul Rugg, and he says Mr. Director is most likely returning to the show. So that's a pretty strong hint. I would think that's pretty good.
Yeah, all he did was he put on Twitter was he put like a picture of him and it says, the show's namey, and it was just Paul making a weird face like Paul does. So it's most likely Mr. Director. It could be Mr. Clown. Could be a totally different character, which would be weird. I don't understand why they would do that. It has to be Mr. Director, I would hope. But the number one character that Animaniacs fans have been clamoring for, ever since the reboot was announced, was, of course, the Slappy Squirrel, of course, right? People always, as soon as they announce the reboot, people are like, oh, I can't wait for Picking the Brain. Oh, I can't wait. I hope that Slappy returns. And of course, Slappy did not return. And in fact, way back in 2018, remember this, Nathan? Slappy came on the show and she revealed that no one from Warner Brothers had called her.
What's coming up for you? Anything? Any big plans? What are you doing?
The dinner. I'm gonna go over to the IHOP and have some flapjacks. Get over there early for the special. And other than that, these days I like to sit and stare at the phone, waiting for it to ring, because nobody's calling me. Nobody. I just sit here.
So Joey and crew, get the word out. Slappy needs some phone calls.
We'll get that going.
Yeah.
So sad.
That is so sad.
But this led to our Slappy in 2020 hashtag efforts, which it resulted in some really cool fan art. But other than that, it didn't really result in too much. But wait, Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe all of this was not a waste after all. That's right.
What are you saying?
Spoiler alert right now. If you do, I think everyone knows what I'm about to say, but spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear any more, turn off this podcast. Thanks for listening. Now go away. Now, for those of you who don't mind being spoiled, here's the rumor that we've heard. We are very pleased to announce that we have heard that Slappy Squirrel is going to be making a return to the show next season. Yay! Now, we're not sure if it's just a cameo or just a full Slappy short, but we believe that Sherry Stoner has recorded lines for Slappy, and honestly, I think that would be a total waste of time and effort for them to just have Sherry come in there and record just a couple lines for a cameo. For the moment, we think it's safe to assume that Slappy is going to be returning for a full cartoon segment. Now, we've heard this information from a very reliable source. However, this source was not Sherry Stoner. And I haven't even wasted my time reaching out to Sherry. Like, what do you have to do? Is comment about this? Because let's face it, Sherry, she's not going to come out and say, oh, yeah, I worked on the show. It should be great. No, if you went up to Rob Paulson in the years coming up, he knew ever since 2016, I think, is when they first started hearing about the reboot for him and that he was going to be involved. But if you ever went up to Rob or Jess or Tress, they would just go, oh, that sounds great. It would be great if they reboot Animaniacs, or they would just say no comment or something along those lines. Because they have NDAs and they realize, like, if they spoil anything, if they say, yes, I am in it, well, they may not be in it anymore. So please don't pester. If you're friends with Sherry on Facebook or whatever, please don't pester her online, things like that. We all know that she cannot confirm or deny this information. But if true, and our source on this has been very reliable in the past. So we have no reason to believe that this is not true. But if true, the addition to Slappy, this cartoon, would, I think, be a breath of fresh air to the show. A lot of the characters, Nathan, I don't know of you, but Starbucks and Cindy,
yeah,
the gnome and people's mouths. I mean, they look interesting, but they don't really grab your attention like
But yeah, it'd be fun
the
to
classic
do it.
ones.
I mean, I don't think Skippy is coming back. As far as I know.
No, I
But-
did. Yeah, I did. I did reach out to Nate Ruegger, and
Mhm.
he
I
said
mean-
no. He's
But I mean, maybe it's some NDA, but let's assume he's not going to be.
yeah. I think it's I think Nate was just like, what's the scope? I didn't hear anything about Slappy coming back. So
maybe he's a really good actor, or
oh man, he is so good. Nate is a good actor. Anybody?
Yeah.
You just need to see One Flew Over the Cuckoo Clock to know that for sure.
Exactly.
But exactly. But anyway, it is a shame. I know we talked about it with Tom Ruegger about his idea, which was that Skippy would be older. His idea, if he were writing the show, would be Skippy is older. He's still living in the tree. He's in his 20s or 30s, and Slappy's just trying to get him out of the house. That's a funny concept in my opinion. But I think if Skippy is in this episode, which he may or may not, again, we have no idea about any plot of this episode. If he's
Maybe
in it,
not
I
speaking.
think it would just either not speaking, like he was not speaking in Good Warner Hunting. Ugh, never mind. Don't talk about it. But they could just do a child actor, I suppose. Or just have an adult actor just do a kid voice for a couple lines, perhaps.
or
I don't know.
an adult voice because he's grown up.
No,
now.
that's true. But they've already shown him as a kid, so
That's
you know
true.
what I mean. So that's why I don't think they would do that.
Yeah.
But maybe we will see the version of Skippy and Slappy in some future Animaniacs reboot in the future, right? The thing is, it is a property of Warner Brothers and Amblin, and if the reboot is successful, and hey, why not reboot it again? I mean, how many reboots of Scooby Doo have there been? Or Looney Tunes? There's been a dozen, so you never know what could happen in the future for Animaniacs. Anyway, it is. By the way, I did mention on Twitter a few weeks ago that Tom Ruegger is writing a script featuring Slappy Squirrel, but it is not this. He talked about it on our Patreon, just giving us a little bit behind the scenes about what the plot would be about, but it's not for the reboot. I think he would love for the reboot to pick it up, I'm sure, and run with it. But he's not working on the show. So maybe, hey, why not? If anybody on the reboots listening, Tom Ruegger's got a script featuring Slappy. Contact him. You know his number. If you don't, contact me. I'll give you his number. Anyway, but I guess the main question is, will we see the same cranky old critter that we've loved over the years? Or is she going to be a little different? Like the brain is different.
Is a little different. That's true. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot are a little bit different. A little bit.
Yeah, all their personalities are slight. Their look is well, Slappy. They've already kind of shown her. She basically looks about the same. But I'm sure she has some nice canines this time, though. But the brain, I mean, of course, he used to be, he wanted to be the future ruler of the world, but now, of course, he also wants to be a supervillain as well. And he, tortures other mice and there's stuff like that. And wants to blow up buildings. It's a different characterization. So
yeah,
I'm
sure Pinky's also different. I don't know.
Pinky seems pretty close.
Pinky's pretty much the same. I'm sure we could find something that we're like, oh, now he doesn't care about Farfig Nugan.
But I guess I don't know. I guess we're going to close this one out with just the question: what do you guys think out there? What do you think about Slappy Squirrel returning? If this rumor, again, this is a rumor we've heard, and if it's true, it's a really cool rumor. So, what do you think?
And it's almost certainly it's a very highly probable rumor that we have, I think.
Yes, I would put it at 99% gonna happen, right?
So,
but just I've got to get that 1% out just in case, because things get cut out. I mean, that's the other thing too. We talked early on. Remember, we talked to somebody, and they are involved in the show. They said they were doing something that was kind of like good idea, bad idea, and that was at least in the development phase at one point, and it's gone. At least we haven't seen it in the first 2 seasons. Maybe it'll get pushed to the third.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it yet. So, I mean, come on. I want a Slappy cartoon. I want a Slappy segment. I don't want her to come in and go, "Hi, I'm Slappy Squirrel. Bye."
Which, I mean, I don't know if that might be.
That might be. But if you come on, you're going to make Sherry drive all the way to Burbank, get her in the recording studio, and just say these 2 or 3 lines.
It'd make me happy. I mean, I'd be happier than not.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, I need a Slappy cartoon with her and like Walter Wolf. Or
you always want more. Always more.
More. When it comes to Slappy Squirrel, I will always want more.
Yeah,
yes.
I'll be happy with whatever I get. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, what do you guys think? Let us know. You can get in contact with us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, or of course you can send us an email, animanicast@retrozap.com or at gmail.com as well. We're both. Well, I guess that'll do it for today's episode. So Nathan, do you have any contact information for you?
Oh, Twitter. Obviously, I'm always on there. Django FT. That's me.
All right. And for more podcasts and videos and announcements like that, make sure to follow our podcast here on the podcast player of your choice. Of course, you can go over to our YouTube page as well, which we have a really cool animation by Isla Toon on today's episode and all of our other recent episodes as well. We're going to be going back into our back catalog as well, because there's some episodes that never got uploaded to YouTube. So we're going to have to upload those as well.
Oh.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, check out today's episode on YouTube and you can see it. It's really cool. It's the Warners.
And it's a short episode too, so might as well, It's like
exactly. Why the heck not?
Just watch us all, listen to it all over again, and
and hey, did we mention that we also have a Patreon? We did? Well, we do. Yeah, you head on over there for episode commentaries. We have over 50 episodes of Animaniacs with commentaries by Tom Ruegger, John P. McCann, Lenore Robinson, Peter Hastings, and Paul Rugg. And it's all over at patreon.com/Animanicast. Nathan and I will be going off to San Diego Comic-Con. And
SDCC.
for Retro Zap, SDCC, we're going to be going there as media representatives of our podcast network, Retro Zap. So head on over to retrozap.com for great articles and podcasts and posts by me and Nathan on our journey to San Diego Comic-Con. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be our first time there. Should be pretty exciting. So follow along with us as we journey to there to, I don't know, cover it.
Road trip. All right.
Road trip. Well, for Nathan and Kelly, who's not here, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.